You wrote a note with Citigroup 8 months ago, bravely saying General Motors was doing something different. You were a lone wolf. Boy, everybody's caught up to you. What is the distinction between GM and your enthusiasm there versus Ford Motor?
Well, first, I think GM's had the right truck strategy. As you know, Tom, we've been very bullish on the pickup truck segment over the years, as well as the overall auto cycle in the U.S., 17 million plus auto sales through 2018. But we also begun to write a lot more about GM's role in technology. We actually hosted GM at our tech conference earlier in the week. And the profitability in the connected car. In fact, in April, GM did disclose for the first time that they expect their OnStar 4G platform to contribute $350 million of incremental profit by 2018.
Right.
That's not small.
That's not small and meaningful. Within your conference, what is the significance of a Apple iPhone, for that matter, any other toy, but with the Apple announcement this week, is an Apple iPhone, GM, and Ford and the rest of the auto manufacturers, is it their friend or enemy?
Right now, GM is rolling out an infotainment system from a number of the tech companies, but really the value in the connected car comes from the data, being able to even in the future sell almost apps the way we buy on our phones for automated driving features, traffic jam assist, all the way to full automation, the ability to sell data to consumers. The car itself is, as it's described, the ultimate mobile device. You
do terrific work on the behavior of automobiles. Folks, we're 4 minutes away from a moment of silence here on September 11th at the NYSE with Itay Michaeli. And you just say, do they want to drive? That's perfectly the essence of the worry about millennials. Do they want to drive?
We think the 18 through 34-year-olds actually do when the economy is strong. One of the issues is that we are seeing the 34 through 45-year-old household more reluctant to add car number two. This is a really key question, not just for the cycle now, but in the next 10 years as we think about new mobility.
Does it threaten 17 million units per year?
Right now, no, because we're in a really sweet spot of the replacement cycle all the way through. And in fact, 17 million through 2018 will be a very normal recovery in terms of the percentage of drivers buying new vehicles. So while our view has always been known as bullish, to your point, it's actually, we've argued, is a very ordinary form of a recovery through 2018.
We've seen a lot of talk about millennials not wanting to buy cars, but in part that's because they're all moving into the cities where they can walk or take mass transit. What about in the rest of the country, though? You get away from New York, you get away from maybe Chicago, cities with heavy mass transit. Are people buying cars? Or are we still seeing 2-3 cars in the driveway now?
Yeah, no, we are. We think density has actually improved in the U.S. over the last year. And as I mentioned, in our surveys, the 18 to 34-year-olds, when the economy is good, they tend to tell us, yeah, in a couple of years, we're going to have more cars per household. It's really the 34 to 45-year-olds that tend to be a little bit weaker. And, of course, those older than that tend to be reducing it. So it's a little bit of a pressure point.
Have they sold enough black Suburbans?
I mean, well, in New York, you're going to have black Suburbans or Lincoln Town cars.
It's the same idea. How has Uber changed your spreadsheets?
Well, we've actually did a report on what the auto sales market could look like in 2030 because we are very bullish on automated driving. We've written a lot about Mobileye in that respect.
Really? You buy it, huh?
We do. And we think that by 2030, we did a full simulation using our survey. We could see an auto sales range of between 14.5 to 15.7 million. So we do see some potential pressure points in the longer term from driverless mobility networks. So we did a report in July on this. And but our bias is a bit more towards the high end of that 15.7 million. But to the point before, because the car is becoming connected and therefore more profitable, while you do see lower unit volume potentially in the next 15 or so years, the profit per car we think will go up. And by the way, remember what's happening to the car globally. It's becoming much more affordable. So we actually think when you look at the car globally, we could see as many as 8 million units potentially over the very long term of auto sales.
Mike, this is a really important point, the affordability of transportation and also the gas mileage. One of the guys driving me around said the Suburban, the GM Suburban that I drive in, I perceive as a gas-guzzling truck. And he says the reason you see them is they're not.
Well, this goes up and down, Itay, as gas prices go up and down. What kind of cars we buy?
Yeah, we've definitely seen as gas prices have gone down, more demand for large SUVs, for small SUVs. And look, I think the buyers who like the larger SUVs tend to like them whether gas is high or low, because these are very expensive vehicles to begin with. So we may be seeing some of that replacement demand in large SUVs as well, which is being helped by lower oil prices.
Itay Michaeli was with Citigroup on this September 11th with his terrific work on automobiles.